Folks. The Hasanabi Census Bureau is alive and well. It's census time. Get in now. Every year, we do a census in the community to get a better outlook on what the community looks like. Has it grown? Has it shrunk? Has it gotten older? Let's start with age. 18 to 21, 22 to 25, 26 to 29 is the next bracket, and also 30 plus. Remember, if you are at home at a Hasanabi household, okay, where your mom is also watching, get her to join the broadcast with her laptop to vote separately. Now, there's data from June 2020 to August 2024 in all the different timeframes where I've done the census, usually around the month of August. Initially, when I first started doing the census, the number of 30 plus was only 18.93, 19% of the community. The biggest group of people in the community was the 22 to 25-year-olds, comprising almost 30% of the community. And throughout time, that number has just grown. It's becoming, when we first started, we used to joke and say this is a daycare. And nowadays, it's seemingly reflective of not a daycare, but instead an old folks home. Stop writing your age in the chat and put it in the poll, okay? I have demographic concerns. My community is aged out of the marketplace of ideas. This is a community full of unks now. We're unked up. 13K voted only, 12 viewers to vote. What are you kidding me? 13K votes for 36,000 viewers is really good. That is a way higher participation rate than expected. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, this year's demographic breakdown. Last year, 30 plus was at 43%. This year, 30 plus is at 50%. Last year, 26 to 29 was at 22%. This year, 26 to 29 is still at 22%. Last year, 22 to 25 was at 21%. This year, 22 to 25 is at 19%. And last year, 18 to 21 was 11%. This year, it is at 8%. And under 18 is 1.69%. Now it's down to 1%. Android users are reporting that they're having a hard time voting. So that's a big L for Android users. This community has just been, it's the same community. It feels like as our numbers have grown, every year I do this. And as our numbers have grown, every single year I realize that like it's the same, almost the exact same age distribution. It's just getting older. The same people are aging through the different brackets. If you started watching me in 2020, you just basically clicked through these different age groups. At some point, you just moved up into the next bracket in the Hasanabi community. We're going to do this next year until it's all 30 plus. We're turning into Japan. I'm realizing that we need fresh blood in this community. How the fuck did this happen? The only time where the under 18 percentage grew was in 2021. And since 2021, all of the cancellations seemingly have eviscerated the young blood in this community. Less fun. Older chat. Less fun. We're not having fun anymore. How are you going to get fresh blood? We're going to do a Zoomer charm offensive. Dog, Zoomers are between 24 and 30 now too. No, that's true. I forget that now Zoomers are unk. It's Gen Alpha. I got called unk IRL for the first time today. Okay, we're moving on to the next bracket at the Hasanabi census. It's time for gender. We got male, female, non-binary, and other. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. As you guys know, this was a heavily male-dominated community that has become increasingly less male over time, and that is a good thing. Manage the poll, new poll, gender, male, female, MB, other. All right, the poll has started. Everybody, let's go. Oh, holy Toledo! The women are rising up. 30% women. Let's fucking go. 30%. God damn, is over for the men. There is literally a gender side taking place here. What the fuck? If this continues, holy Toledo, men are going to be extinct in this community. By the way, this is an impressive gender breakdown for Twitch in particular, considering how male-dominated of a platform Twitch actually is. So the fact that year over year, the number of ladies have gone up from June 2020 at 11.51%, 83% men, 11.5% women, to all the way in 2025 to 29% women, 8% non-binary, which is the same as last year, and 1% other is crazy. Turns out the thirst talk momentum is very much alive and very much well. More female viewers than cutie, just saying. Yeah, I mean, that's also, yes, it's also true. Men are going extinct, folks. Men went from 67% last year, starting at 83%, to 67% last year to 62% this year. Holy Toledo. All right. Next up, political ideology. This one is always a contentious one because everybody always says, why is my particular political ideology not reflected in the polling results? And of course, you are not going to get exactly what you want out of this poll, but it doesn't matter. Put yourself in a bracket that you find most comfortable with. Politricks, I say. Politics, more like politricks. All right. We got socialist, social democrat, apolitical, liberal, and conservative. And as you can see here, initially when I started off in June 2020, we had a 5.24 conservative base of voters. We had liberals at 7.6%. We had social democrats at 35.57%. And socialists were the majority at 51.5%. And of course, the number of Soc Dems have gone down over the years and have maintained 18% in the last two, whereas everybody else have basically bracketed themselves in the socialists, with socialism being the 76.5% overwhelming majority. Oh my God! Holy Toledo! 85% socialist, 12% social democrat, apolitical is at 1%, liberals at 1%, conservatives at 1%. We need the hogs back, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on? And I don't even want to say ladies and gentlemen. I just want to say ladies, because it seems to me like there's not a lot of gentlemen remaining in the broadcast. We got 60%. It is a gentle side. Men are under attack. There is a specter haunting the Hasanabi broadcast, and that is the specter of communism, socialism, Marxist-Leninism. I might have to reconfigure these polls for next year as well, because it seems like we don't have any hogs in here, which is something that I am desperate for, as you guys know. At least back in the day, we had 5% of hogs that made up 90% of the conversation, and now the hogs have gone. Where are all my hogs gone? Asmongold's chat, of course, unfortunately. I wish the hogs would return, at least some of them. Socialists at 84%, social democrats at 13%, apolitical at 1%, liberal at 1%, conservative at 1%. We have eradicated conservatism in this community. All right, up next is ethnicity. This is another spicy one, a spicy facility. Caucasian, white, Hispanic / Latiner, Asian / Pacific Islander is number 3, Black is number 4, and mixed / other is number 5. The poll begins. Most of these are just Turks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, vote away. As you have seen, the number of whites have actually gone up and then maintained stability since 2021. That's right. In 2020, when we first did this poll before the election, mixed and other was at 25%, black was at 8%, Asian Pacific Islander was at 9%. Hispanic and Latiner was at 13%. The community has become less diverse over time. Whites have, unfortunately, colonized this chat. Caucasian is still standing strong at 58%. Hispanic Latiner numbers have grown from 17% to 18%, it seems. Asian Pacific Islander is also at 8%, remaining strong, and black is still at 7%, whereas mixed and other went from 8% to 9%, it seems. Okay, what the fuck? Okay, this is busted. Okay, all right, there's something wrong here. Bro, this just shows that this community has literally been the same. Every year we have this conversation. Like, there has been no difference whatsoever since like 2021, basically. And it's just the same people. They're just getting older. How is this possible? Are we just going to keep, like, there's just no new faces around here? Or how does the ethnic, like, demographic breakdown and everything else remain the same, and the community just keeps aging? Like, there are clearly newer people in here, you know what I mean? We're not, it's not the same 30,000 people. I don't understand. Is it the same 30,000 people? In 2021, you lost all the black conservatives, it seems. This is literally just the exact same percentage breakdown. like a little bit more movement for the Hispanic Latino caucus, but Asian Pacific Islander pretty much the same. And black percentages at 7% this year, and it was 7.8% last year. Click on some chatters profiles. They're all 50 plus month subs / followers. Not bothering to answer anything because I can't see it. I can't see the poll on mobile and haven't answered anything. That's so cute. This guy said, my girlfriend, in parentheses, Asian baddie, by the way, is a new viewer, but she's at work, so she can't vote. Asian baddie, by the way. Okay, bro. Nice, sweet flex, man. You're killing it. Also, 30-month subscriber. Following since 2022. No wonder the fucking demographics have remained the goddamn same. None of you motherfuckers are bringing in new people, bro. What the hell? Half of the chat has been here for in perpetuity. Half of the chat has been here forever. We're going to be passing a decade. Motherfuckers are going to be in here. That's crazy. Okay. Caucasian at 58%. Hispanic Latino at 18%. Mixed other at 10%. Asian Pacific Islander at 8%. Black people at 7%. God damn. We ain't moved shit around these parts, bro. Let's do religion. Another annoying topic, okay? Annoying topic that every year leads to some of the funniest conversations that take place about how atheism is not the same as agnosticism, and also that atheists are actually the most undermined, the most unjustly maligned in this community, even though the entire fucking community is atheist. Okay, religion. There we go. First and foremost, we got atheist / agnostic. Then we have Christian. And if you're Catholic, that means you're fucking Christian, okay? Don't even play with me. Islam, Judaism, and other. Just make a Redditor option. We really need a Black Israelite section. Agnostic really is different, but I get it. Dude, that is the nice bathroom. If I hadn't known you for years at this point and knew that you were a black man, agnostic really is different, but I get it. That is the most white Redditor ass take I have ever. I wish the fuck you would. That's the most white Redditor take of all time. Okay. Excuse me. Excuse me. Nah, you can convert someone that's agnostic, but not an atheist. Okay, dude. Where's the Amish section? What the fuck? Sorry. Apologies to the Amish, but you just bracket it off as other. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got atheist and agnostic from 76% to 74%. Wow. First time we've seen a dip. Or I guess last year to the year prior to last year, there was a 2% dip and another 2% dip now. Uh-oh. What's going on? Christianity is on the rise from 11% to 12%. Islam from 4%, still at 4%. Seems like Islam was much more prominent initially. When I first started this broadcast, we had more Muslims. Judaism is at 1%, and it is increased to 2% by 1% to 2%. This year, it's still at 2%. Other is at 8%. Wait, is Christianity on the rise? Were they actually cooking when they said that? Was that not a lie? Is Christianity actually on the rise, chat? What the fuck? It's one of the only demographics. It's the only religion that's grown in this chat. Atheist agnostic has gone down, and seemingly people have converted back to Christianity. How the fuck? Is this a recession indicator? What the hell's going on? Woke Pope, hello? Left-wing Christianity is seeing movement on TikTok. My girlfriend, Christian Baddie, by the way, is a new viewer, but she's at work, so she can't vote. Yeah. These numbers would be so much better for Christianity if Pinoy Pope won, because as everybody knows, we have a massive Swagapino population in here. It is 2:56 a.m. in the Middle East, to be fair. Brother, do you think the only place where Muslims exist is the Middle East? My sister is voting illegally. She only watches when I visit. What the fuck? Voting illegally. All right. Next up is sexuality. That's right. We got straight, bi / pan, because we're doing some kind of erasure always, gay / lesbian, asexual, and questioning / other. Straights have gone down again. Now at 53%. Bi pan is up from 27.5 to 30%. Oh my God. Holy Toledo. The gays and lesbians are also up 7.5 to 8%. Asexuals have gone up as well from 4.61 to 5%, and questioning/other is still remaining around 4%. That's gone down a little bit as well. Maybe some people are no longer questioning and figured out what kind of bracket they fall under. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, holy Toledo. Coming up next is the height category. Height category is the lie category. Why would you ever lie about that? No one can see you. No one can associate your username with whatever your input is. Can 5'11 chatters get our own category for being so powerful yet humble yet also goated at the same time? Yes. Let's take a look at what the numbers look like right now. You got the under 5 feet coming in at 2%. Not a lot of under 5 feet chatters in here, but their numbers have grown as opposed to last year, going from 1.67 to 2%. The 5'1" to 5'5" category has gone from 17.9% to 21%. Probably an increase in the number of women in the community has also led to an increase of the number of people that are between the height of 5'1" to 5'5" in the same time frame. 5'6" to 5'8" went from 24% to still staying at 24%, and the 5'9" to 5'11" category has gone up from 28.7% to 29%, and the 6' plus has actually gone down. The number of 6' plus has gone from 27.48% to 25%. Once again, it could be because there are more girly pop nations rising up in the community. That is probably part of the reason why. Having said that, however, we welcome the girly pops to the community. We do not want any talls in the community. El Gonzo Gamer says, my girlfriend is a 6'2" baddie, but she's at work, so she can't vote. Some people think that we've shrunk as we've aged, and that is the reason why. Perhaps that's the case. Ladies and gentlemen, next question is location, location, location. I'm Harry Enton, and we're looking at locations. Americas is number 1. Australia is number 2. Europe, not EU. If you're UK, you click on Europe. Asia, and Africa. I mean, these numbers have not really changed at all, so I don't see anything. I'm not expecting anything too crazy to change here. My ex-wife, ZA Batty, by the way, can vote, and she's in the chat, but she hasn't been respecting the equal custody rules of our divorce agreement. Can you help? All right, America's is at 81%, as it has been forever, or 82% as a matter of fact, which of course means South America and North America, but I assume that most of it is North America. Europe is at number 2 at 13%. Number of Europeans have actually gone down, as a matter of fact. Australia is at 2%, an increase from Straya, still less than what it was at 2022. Asia is at 2%, also somewhat of an increase from 2024. And Africa is at 1%, an increase from 0.8. Part of the reason why this is the polling results is time zone as well. Yeah, Europe would probably be much higher percentage-wise if, I had a different time zone that I was doing it in. I suspect that my European chatters have a hard time staying up this late. How many for North Korea? All of the 2% Asia is actually North Korean. The entire population of North Koreans that have access to the internet. All right, let's take a look at the numbers. It's gone up, up, up. As a matter of fact, it seems as though the none/unemployed bracket has actually gone down. This is not a recession indicator, but instead, it's a progression indicator. Unemployed leftist category here, going from 29.5% last year to 27%. The $1,000 to $20,000 bracket is at 14%, which is around the same, 13.8%. And the $20,000 to $50,000 bracket has gone from 21.2% to 21.20. I don't know. It's just still 21%. It seems like there's not a lot of movement in the 20K to 50K category, whereas the 50K to 100K category is at 22%, going up to 24%. And last but not least, the Big Monty, holy Toledo, the 100K plus chatters rise up. It turns out the 100K plus chatters have gone from 8% to 5% to 10% to 11% to 12%, all the way now to 14%. Socialism but rich is no longer just a theory or a slander. Socialism but rich is now becoming a reality. It's also a consequence of inflation, as a matter of fact, but having said that, the community is getting older and is filled to the brim with champagne socialists. That's right. What happened? If you were to ask the average person outside, if you were to ask like a random person, right, they would literally say this community is filled with a bunch of teenagers who are unemployed and don't know anything about the world or whatever. But it turns out it's people who are making like 50K to 100K plus, and mostly over the age of 30 now. And high school GED was at 26.9%. That has largely remained stable. Associates and trades was at 14.3%. That has also largely remained stable. BA/BS has gone down from 46% to 44%. Masters have gone up from 8% to 10%. And Pretty Hot Dad, MD NJD, has gone from 3.8% to 4.2%, which leads me to believe that because everything else was adjusted, a bunch of chatters with undergraduate degrees actually went on to get their masters. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the poll results. Turns out high school and GED is still at 26% as it was before. Associates in trade is still at 14% as it was before. BA and BS is at 44%. Masters have gone up from 10% to 12%, and the PhD MD JD number has stayed at 4%. All right, ladies and gentlemen, holy Toledo's all around. All of the vote by mail voters have come in, and once the votes are tabulated, it turns out that the transgender community has only grown by 0.7%, going from 14.3% to 15%. This is one that is near and dear to me. The number of weaves have actually swung wildly over the course of many years now. In December 2020, the number of weebs in this community was at 47.42%. as opposed to the number of non-weebs was at 52%. Nowadays, the number of non-weebs is at 54% to 45%. It turns out weebs have not been rising up. I'm going to put it at ayaya or no. Weebs are still... Wait, what? Weebs are back to being a majority in the community. Oh my God. Holy Toledo. Wait a minute. Holy Toledo. Ayaya. The last time weebs have risen up, they rose up far too much, and ever since then they've been taking a nosedive in the numbers, going from 57% in August 2022 to down to 45% in August 2024. The number of weebs have risen back up to 49 or 51%, overtaking the majority once again. Anti-weebs, you are losing. All right, we're moving on to another incredibly annoying poll. Diet. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm ending this poll, and as I said, 51 to 49%. We're moving on to the next poll. The next poll is diet. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and MBs, mostly women in here. Shouts out to the women. I love women. Girly Pop Nation, rise up. At number 1, we have carnist, omnivore. Number 2, we have vegetarian. Number 3, we have vegan and pescatarian. Waiting for the carnist lab-grown category. I just ate next to Marsh in Bushwick. That's funny. Who's Marsh? All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at carnist omnivore at 87%, which has been relatively strong here. 87 to 88% is what it's been looking like. Vegetarians are at 6%, up from 5.4%. And vegans were 3.5%, and now they have risen. Vegans rise up. They are at 4% now, finally reaching that same boundary that they had in December 2021 when we first implemented the vegan poll question. And pescatarians have gone up from 2% to 3%. Whenever this question comes up, of course, Megan Venice. Why do you think eating animals is ethical? As you guys know, especially back in the day with Ostenox, this used to be a major point of contention where every year I'd be shocked at how little the numbers of vegans were in this community, and yet how much they occupied so much fucking time on the broadcast. I used to butt heads with vegans all the time. I think we already know what the answer to this question is. Come on now. Yes versus no. Neurodiversity. Are you neurodivergent or not? Obviously, we know the answer. When we first started this in July 2023, the numbers of neurodivergent chatters was at 64%. And the neurotypical chatters was at 36%. Let's see if those numbers have increased in spectacular fashion. Okay, 67%. There is an increase from 63% to 67%. The number of neurotypicals has gone down from 36% to 33%. RFK is going to use this to send us to the farms. Yeah. Hassan's my hyperfixation. They've been trying to box me in for years, but I'll never let them. Neurodiversity has gone up, up, up. The schizophrenia count. What the fuck do you think? Community segments are back, alive and well. As a matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, we are still doing more community stuff, including but not limited to Chat Vice. The Chat Vice segment is going to be tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific, and our guest advisors are going to be Vanilla Mace and Phase Adapt.